Hello, and welcome to Apparitions and Alibis. I am your host, AJ Stallman, and this is episode 13. I know I have a lot of different episodes going on for different things, so I apologize if it's confusing, but I love doing just a variety of things, and I hope you're enjoying it. Today's episode is about a bitter ex-wife who gradually got pissed off enough to kill her husband and his new love. I have my coffee, I have my dogs, I just ate a Pop-Tart. Let's do it! Growing up in East Chester, New York, Betty was the third of 6 children born to devout Roman Catholic parents. Her mother was Irish American and her father was Italian. Betty attended and graduated from the College of Mount St. Vincent, a small Catholic women's college in Riverdale, New York. In 1965, Betty met Dan Broderick after a football game in South Bend, Indiana. Dan, who was an undergraduate at the time at Notre Dame, introduced himself to Betty at a party by writing on a napkin, Daniel T. Broderick III, MDA. When Betty asked him what MDA meant, his response was, medical doctor. Almost. They began dating and not long after became engaged. When they got engaged, Dan was attending the Cornell University of Medical School. The couple were married on April 12, 1969 in East Chester. They honeymooned on a Caribbean cruise and later stayed with friends in St. Thomas. Betty returned from the honeymoon pregnant with their first child and continued to work until the day before she gave birth. Afterwards, she continued to hold down several jobs and devoted herself to home and motherhood, which had always been her ambition. She gave birth to 4 more children, 1 girl, 3 boys. One baby boy passed away at only a few days old. During the couple's early years before Dan became an attorney, they were very poor, living for a time on food stamps, moving in and out of dormitories and apartments. Betty held down numerous jobs to support her family and even resorted to selling Tupperware door to door in the cold winter while holding her babies in her hands. She was never too proud to work. After the birth of their first child, Dan announced that he no longer wanted a degree in medicine and instead wanted to pursue a law degree. In 1973, after Dan graduated from Harvard Law School, the family moved to San Diego, where Dan quickly became a success as a medical malpractice attorney. In time, Dan got to go into practice for himself. Virtually overnight, Dan won his first case and they became much more wealthy. The couple was well known in San Diego's social circles and enjoyed a life of increasing affluence. Betty was finally able to quit working and reap the benefits of all of her hard work. At the same time, the already problematic marriage was basically falling apart. Betty continually complained that Dan was an absent father and husband, spending too much time working and socializing with other attorneys. Betty protested that she felt like a single parent of 4 children. In the early 1980s, Dan decided to hire Linda Broderick. She was hired as his personal assistant and began a secret affair that would last around 3 years. Betty had a feeling the affair was happening, even though Dan denied it for quite some time. During one incident, Betty went to his office for his 38th birthday to surprise him with alcohol and flowers. When she got there, he nor his assistant was anywhere to be found. She waited and waited for them to return, eventually giving up and going home. Filled with anger, when Betty got home, she burned all of his expensive suits. With Betty constantly accusing Dan of an affair, the marriage died. Dan finally moved out of the family home and eventually got full custody of the children. Shortly afterwards, he admitted to the 3-year affair and got a restraining order against Betty while filing for divorce. Betty was devastated and hurt. There followed a long divorce where Betty felt that she was unfairly treated, owing it to Dan's connections and influence. Broderick versus Broderick became one of the nastiest divorces in the US, gaining so much attention that Oprah Winfrey contacted Betty to secure an interview. Betty declined. After Dan left Betty, she became obsessed with her anger towards him. She laughed. I'm sure she didn't laugh. She left nasty voicemails and often abused him and Linda in recorded telephone conversations with her children. One incident involved her driving a vehicle through the front door of Dan's new house after he sold the family home out from under Betty without her consent. Betty also smeared cream pie all over his clothes once she entered unannounced and sprayed their walls with spray paint, as well as breaking windows. Throughout the divorce, her anger and actions just became worse and worse. The only way she knew how to fight back against her husband was destroying his home, leaving nasty voicemails, and complaining to her friends about his adultery. Dan, on the other hand, was keeping a pretty level head with everything that was happening. At one point, he was paying Betty $16,000 a month in alimony and was living with Linda. Through it all, Betty was convinced that he would come to his senses and return home to her. The divorce was finally finalized in 1989, 4 years after Dan had filed for it. In the end, multi-million-dollar Dan was ordered to pay his wife of 20 years less than $30,000 in cash. In addition, Dan was re-awarded custody of the children, and Betty felt her life was over. April 22nd, 1989, 10 days after what would have been Dan and Betty's 20th anniversary, Dan and April. Who's April? Dan and Linda were married. In March, 1 month before Dan and Linda were married, Betty claimed as a single woman living on her own, she needed some protection, which isn't completely false. I believe single people in general should have some sort of defense in case of a home invasion, but Betty went and bought a Smith & Wesson. She took shooting lessons, carried the gun with her almost everywhere, and even made threats about shooting Dan. 8 months later, 5:30 a.m. on the morning of November 5th, 1989, Dan and Linda were shot dead in their home while they slept. Betty had killed them. She gained access to the home by taking a key from her eldest daughter's purse. Allegedly, Dan's last words were, "Okay, you shot me. I'm dead." During the trials, it was told that she moved a phone that Dan could have used to call 911. Or 911, which is what normal people call it. This did not help her. In total, Betty shot 5 bullets from her gun, 2 bullets hit Linda, one in the head, one in the chest, killing her instantly. 1 bullet hit Dan in the chest as he was reaching for the phone. The 2 other bullets hit the wall and a nightstand. Dan was 44. Linda was 28. Betty turned herself in, never denying that she pulled the trigger. But during the trial, she denied having the intention of murdering them when she broke into their home. She claimed that her intention was to make him listen to her. And if he didn't, she would, quote, splash brains all over his goddamn house. When pressed for an answer on why she didn't commit suicide after shooting Dan and Linda, she stated that she didn't have any bullets left. She said she shot her ex-husband in the heat of the moment when she entered the room and Linda yelled for him to call the police. She claimed that she was startled by Linda yelling and had no process or plan to kill them. It just happened as a reaction to being startled. Betty hired attorney Jack Early to defend her. The state of California was represented by prosecutor Carrie Wells. Betty's defense was that of battered woman syndrome, claiming quite effectively that she was driven over the edge by years of psychological, emotional, and mental abuse at the hands of her cheating husband. Jack portrayed Betty as a woman who sacrificed her entire being in order to be nothing more than the perfect mother and perfect wife to 4 children and a successful husband. Through witness testimony, including testimony by Betty herself, Jack showed how Betty held down 5 jobs in the early years of marriage in order to help her young husband get through medical and then law school. Without Betty's assistance, argued Jack, Dan could never have become the successful attorney that he was. By all witness accounts, Betty was truly the perfect mother and a hard-working, loyal wife. But according to Jack, Dan cold-heartedly traded Betty in for a younger model by cheating on her behind her back for 3 years with Linda, ultimately divorcing Betty, getting sole custody of the 4 children, and then marrying Linda. After years of Dan's lies, legal bullying, and clout as the president of San Diego Country Bar Association, and taunting of Betty, Betty snapped and committed the murders without premeditation. Carrie Wells portrayed Betty as a cold-hearted, selfish, narcissistic murderer who planned and schemed to kill her ex-husband for quite some time. Playing countless phone messages Betty left on Dan and Linda's answering machine, introducing evidence that Betty had repeatedly vandalized Dan's home, and having Betty's oldest daughter Kim testify about how angry Betty was and unrepentant she was after the murders. Carrie Wells argued to the jury that Betty was out of control, dangerous, and callous. Carrie Wells was quoted in a magazine saying, "I've had my fill of Elizabeth Broderick. She's not a battered woman. She was getting $16,000 a month in alimony. She had $1 million La Jolla house, a car, a boyfriend. I see abused women every day with broken bones and smashed faces. Give me a break." Betty's first trial ended in a hung jury when 2 of the jurors held out for manslaughter, citing lack of intent. One of the jurors was quoted saying, "I wonder what took her so long." A mistrial was declared by Judge Thomas Whelan. Betty was retried a year later with the same defense attorney and prosecutor. The second trial was essentially a replay of the first trial, although Jack has always maintained that Judge Thomas severely restricted Betty's defense in the second trial while simultaneously allowing the prosecution's case to expand. Prosecutor Carrie Wells was more successful in the second trial when the jury returned a verdict of 2 counts of second-degree murder. Betty was sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of 15 years to life plus 2 years for illegal use of a firearm. the maximum under the law. Betty has been incarcerated since the day she committed the murders. Betty is serving out her sentence at the California Institution for Women in Corona, California. In January 2010, her first request for parole was denied by the Board of Parole Hearings because she did not show remorse and did not acknowledge wrongdoing. Betty is due to be released in 2021 and can reapply for parole in 2013. Two of her children spoke at her parole hearing, asking the board to release their mother. Betty's other two children spoke against Betty, imploring the board to keep Betty incarcerated. Betty's story has been dramatized all over the U.S., even inspiring an episode of Law & Order titled Wages of Love. In 2017, the parole offices stated that Betty, to this day, believes in her heart and mind that they deserve to die. She has another parole hearing set for 2032. As of 2020, she's 72 years old. It has been reported that she's a good inmate and does not cause trouble. Inmates and guards all seem to like her. She has a job at the mental health office in the jail where she schedules appointments and does paperwork. She seems to be happy where she is and says she feels safe. She is now a grandma and has never seen her grandchildren outside of the jail. Y'all, if there's anything you can take away from this episode, make it this. Men, not worth it. Yes. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe and rate and review, as well as follow us on Instagram so you can see upcoming episodes and more stuff, I guess. I don't know. As always, I hope you have a wonderful morning, night, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will talk at you later. Bye.